Welcome back to my podcast. I am so glad that you were able to join me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me. In my previous podcast, I talked about how we go about staging the disease, how the physicians diagnose the disease, and things like that. And one of the things we talked about is ADL functions and cognitive functions. One of the things you would observe, you would see with Alzheimer's disease is as the individual progresses from one stage to another, they do revert back to their early memories. Okay, they do, and I call them early childhood memories. It could be childhood, it could be early young adult life. If you ask me to offer a definitive age that they would revert back, I would say between the ages of 0 to 20. In our clinical setting, that's what we use, between the ages of 0 to 20. The memories that they had registered, that they had learned, that they had developed between the ages of 0 to 20, those are the memories they tend to remember and they revert back to as they progress through the stages of the disease. Well, folks, we talked about I had mentioned the criteria that the physician uses, the neurologist uses, the geriatrician, the psychologist, the psychiatrist uses to stage the diseases. One's ability to perform their ADL functions, their basic ADL functions and basic cognitive functions. As the individual progresses from one stage to another, and when they progress, they revert back to their early childhood or early young adult life memories. If that's true, my question to you is, what did you and I do on a daily basis between the ages of 0 to 20? Think about this, folks. Think about this for a second, okay? The disease is diagnosed based on one's ability to perform their basic ADL functions and basic cognitive functions. That's here. Let's put that in this little box here to the left. And to the right, as an individual progresses through the stages, they revert back to their early memories, early childhood or early young adult memories. Let's put that here. Okay? Now, right at the bottom in the middle, what did you and I do on a daily basis between the ages of 3 to 20? We fed ourselves, we combed our hair, we brushed our hair, men shaved, women took care of themselves, young adulthood, maybe some women did makeup. We dressed every day, we took a shower or a bath every day, or almost every day. So, if it's true that because of the disease, as the individual moves from one stage to another, if they revert back to their early childhood memories or young adult memories, they should be able to remember to dress, bathe, brush their hair, feed themselves, the basic ADL functions, right? Well, if that's the case, why don't they remember those things as they progress through the stages? Why don't they remember those things? Why are they unable to do those things as they progress from one stage to another? So, in an ideal world, if I have an individual A with Alzheimer's disease, let's say at stage 4 or even stage 5, if I can find a way, if I'm able to teach this individual, or if this individual is able to dress, bathe, brush their teeth, brush their hair, shave themselves, apply makeup, if they're able to do that, and if essentially what I've done is, number one, I've made the individual very functional, made the individual independent, enable the individual to perform at their highest function. Now, going back to how the disease is staged purely based on one's ability to perform the basic ADL functions and cognitive functions. If I'm able to enable an individual to dress, bathe, groom, on their own, what have I done all of a sudden? Is it fair to say that I have maybe helped this individual be independent with the aerial functions and cognitive functions? And if that's true, is it fair to say that I have prevented this individual from moving from one stage to another? In other words, I may have slowed the progression of the disease or enabled the individual to be functional in whatever stage they are. So my question to you is, well, if I can have an individual feed themselves, comb their hair, shave, apply makeup, dress, bathe, follow all the safety skills when they walk, when they ambulate, when they move from one point A to point B, what have I done all of a sudden? If I'm able to have an individual do that, I may have slowed the progression of the disease. If the fast assessment scale is true, if the individual reverts back to their early memories, if that's true, and if I'm able to enable an individual to perform their basic aerial functions and very basic cognitive safety skills, I've actually slowed the progression of the disease. I've enabled this client, this individual, to live a life that's very fulfilling, that's filled with dignity. Think about this, folks. Think about this. Now, in the next podcast, we'll talk a little bit about the brain. How does the brain respond to all this new learning and